Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lunchroom Syndicate. I am Christopher, doing a week 2 reaction video to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I didn't do a week 1 because, quite frankly, I was just so unbelievably disappointed by the result. Not that they lost necessarily, but the way they lost. Houston's not a good team, and the fact they just got their doors blown off. Now, to Houston's credit, they're better than maybe I gave them credit for, and they're playing super hard. They proved it this week hanging in with Cleveland, who has their own issues right now, but we're not talking about Cleveland. I'm from Ohio, so Cleveland and Cincinnati both that kind of follow as well. Well, I am a Jaguar fan first and foremost, and it's several hours. It's pretty much 12 hours since the game started at this point. It's almost 1 in the morning for me. Um, the game started off really good for Jacksonville. They went right down to really good play calling in that first drive, whether it's scripted or otherwise. A decent balance on run pass. It was a little bit more pass heavy, but the plays were good. Jags went right down, scored 7-0. Hey, maybe things were looking a lot better than last week. And they held the lead for a little while. All things considered, the Jags had the lead for a little bit longer than I expected. um, they went that first drive. They went 11 plays, 83 yards, and just over 5.5 minutes. And looked really good doing it. And they held the lead up until late in the second quarter. With a minute 56, Denver took their first lead of the game, which they would never relinquish, going up 10-7 as the Jags offense bogged down bad after that first drive. They went punt. They missed 2 field goals today, which is so rare for Lambeau to miss. His first 2 misses in Jacksonville and as a Jaguar at home in his career. But the Jags just, and it was a story of the day after that first drive. The Jags just couldn't get anything going offensively. Um, they had 11 plays in that first drive. Basically 4 first downs. They ended up 12 on the day. The Jags only had 189 total yards, and 83 of those came on the very first drive. So after the first drive, including garbage time, the Jags had 106 yards total. I don't even begin to describe what that is. I mean, that's terrible. I mean, the Saints were worse today, admittedly, but this is now the Jaguars' 17th straight loss, which is tied 6th most all time. The all-time record is technically 29, back by the Chicago Cardinals, and whatever, like 30s or 40s or whatever, and then obviously there's a few others higher, including Tampa Bay's infamous 26-game losing streak, Detroit at 19, and a few others. But 17 in a row for the Jaguars. This was supposed to be the easy part of the schedule. Houston, Denver, who has talent, but you wonder about the QB position. And credit to Teddy Bridgewater, he's looked really good the first 2 weeks. But I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is 26 for 34 for 328 and 2 TDs good. Now, Jags had 3 sacks today, so there is some positive. Josh Allen with a force out there. From why I watched the game, I just like last week. Another reason why I didn't do last week's reaction, I only watched half. It's hard for me to want to continue watching when the Jags are so bad. It's hard. If you're a fan of a continuously bad team, you understand that. Browns fans had understood this for years up until last year. And the Jags have been just as bad. They haven't had the 0-16, but the Jags have been terrible for 2 decades now, basically. Outside of their little run in the mid-2000s and then the 2017 random year where we were like, yay, we're good. Now we're not. Let's get rid of everyone in 3 years and have just Miles Jack left over because we're idiots. Try and stay in the positives. The Jags' run defense looked pretty good today. That's kind of been the theme for them. Their run defense was good in the preseason. It wasn't great last week. Nothing worked last week, quite frankly. But against Broncos, 30 carries, 96 yards, 3.2 average. Williams for Denver did gash him a little bit more. He averaged almost 5 yards per carry. That wasn't great, but the secondaries. The Jags got away with two blatant pass interference calls early that kept them in the game. I'm going to be frank about that. But the secondary, too many wide open people. And it's not just wide open. Nobody's near them. Or they're just losing. It's like, just stop being awful. I guess I watched more than half. I watched a lot of part of the game, but I switched on and off just because I just couldn't watch. So I didn't watch a full game, but I watched a lot of it. It is hard. It's the Jags are probably the worst team in the NFL, and I don't mean just this year. Even though you can make the case they are at this point very easily, maybe Atlanta. Maybe. Sorry. Maybe Atlanta is worse. I mean, they haven't looked great all year either. But they at least were in it to the fourth quarter against the Super Bowl champions. That's something. The Jags haven't been in these games. Yeah, they have held lead for most of the first half, but that's almost more Denver can't get out of their own way than Jacksonville playing decent. I mean, the defense played okay today, outside of the secondary, like the run defense. But that game, it's a 10-point game, and it feels like it was a 40-point blowout. The offense scored 7 points. It was a late kick return, a random kick return that gave the Jaguars the 13, and then they missed a 2-point conversion. The offense was terrible. It's unimaginative. They're relying so heavily on Lawrence, they're forgetting they have two capable backs. James Robinson, who looked really good last year, and probably should get the ball more, and Carlos Hyde, who is a respectable backup. Use them. Use your wide receivers. You have a solid, if not great, wide receiving core. What are we doing? Trevor Lawrence is trying to force things. That's part of the problem. But when you're throwing, he went 14 for 33 this week. He had 51 pass attempts last week. We ran the ball 16 times for 50. We had a decent day running the ball. And you take out Trevor Lawrence's 2 runs, it's not as good, but Robinson was 11 for 47 for 4.3. Not bad. Not great. But not bad. He also had 3 catches on the day. But 14 touches better than last week when we had 7. We need to use... And there's no reason not to utilize James Robinson, and even Carlos Hyde to a lesser extent, more than we're doing. But we're not. I don't want to overreact to 2 games. Because there's 15 games left in the season. But that's the thing. There's 15 games left in the season of another terrible year, another Jaguar team that's going to be in the bottom 5 in the league, probably going to be in contention for the number 1 pick again. I mean, where's the wins going to come from? We have Arizona next week. Arizona's look good. Arizona's going to destroy the secondary. They're probably going to put up 40. Then you got Cincinnati, who has issues, but has a really good defense. Their defense has played well. I watched a lot of that. I watched some of their games today, and if Joe Burrow didn't just collapse with 3 straight picks, and the offense as a whole had 4 straight turnovers in that game, they probably win that game. But they have their own issues with the coaching staff that I'm not going to go into. But for the Jags, where is the wins coming from after that? Let's talk about their schedule a little bit. For me, coming into the year, I had said, the first 4 games are where the Jags need to get a couple wins, to feel good about the season. The schedule lines up for them to have a nice opening. They had Houston in week 1. Yes, on the road, and Houston typically destroys Jacksonville. I get that. But Houston had terrible offseason. No Deshaun Watson. Still a bad roster, even though they're playing a lot better than I had expected. And we get blown out the first 2 weeks. Yes, it's a 10-point game. A 10-point game isn't a blowout per se, but if you watch the game, it was a blowout after the first drive. Well, not really, because it was a blowout in the second half. The Denver Broncos pulled away, which is what a good team should do. And I'm not sure if Denver's a good team yet. They have great wide receivers, and they only have Jerry Jeudy right now, but they're an okay team. They're a good team. They're probably a good team. But now we've been beat 60-40 in the first 2 weeks, and neither game was close as the score indicated. Next week we have Arizona at home, who's probably going to destroy. I would say that game's going to be like a 48-20 game. You travel Cincinnati on a Thursday night game. There's a win potential because Cincinnati's offense is so bad right now. They're not a very good offense, and they should be. They really should be, but they're not for whatever reason. And then where? Tennessee. Tennessee has issues, but they're way better than Jacksonville. They're going to run all over us. Miami has issues. But they beat New England week 1. They get the quarterback still. Do they have Deshaun Watson by that point? Is he playing at that point? Miami probably wins that game. I mean, yeah, they got just annihilated today by Buffalo. A Buffalo team that hasn't played well the first 2 weeks. They won by 35 today, and they did not play well on offense. You figure it out. So maybe Miami. Then they got the bye week. Then they travel Seattle. That's a loss. They got Buffalo, who, yes, has, as I said, has issues, but they're probably going to destroy us. Then they travel to Indy, who has played the Rams and Seahawks fairly tough. The Seahawks game was a little bit more blowout. They played the Rams stuff today. Probably lost more because they lost Carson Wentz late. They got San Francisco, who's 2-0, but is starting to get injury problems again. Atlanta, there's a win potential. Atlanta sucks. There's probably your battle for the number 1 pick. Atlanta's terrible. They shouldn't be terrible, but they are. He traveled to Los Angeles. They faced the Rams. That's probably a loss. Tennessee, that's a loss. Houston at home, maybe. We just got destroyed by them last week, though. But that's on the road. Maybe this game. The Jets, yeah, that could be a win, but maybe that's a team that's arguably has looked almost as bad as the Jags at times. Travel to New England, probably a loss, and then Indy at home. You never know what's going to happen in the final week of the season. 2 wins, 3 if we're lucky. Is that what we want? Well, no, obviously it's not what we want, but is that what Urban Meyer came here for? Is that what we were expecting the season to be? I don't think so. 2 weeks isn't a lot to just say, oh, season's done. But the Jags weren't a playoff team to begin with. The AFC's too damn difficult. But I wanted them to be competitive, be competitive. The defense played okay today outside of the secondary being just god-awful again. The front 7 I thought played okay. Got some pressure. Got some. The run stopping was good this week. But where's the season headed? Another 3-win year, 4-win year for lucky 4 wins. A number, probably top 3 pick. Maybe a number 1 again. Maybe we pull Cleveland and get 2 straight number 1s. I don't know who we would select, but we would select. Maybe we trade it. Maybe we get a bunch of first-round picks in return. But it's hard. It's from a Jaguar fan point of view, someone that's liked this team since they came into the league, who remembers vividly, old enough to remember the 90s, and thinking, wow, man, this is so awesome to have a team come in the league and be good. The first year was bad, and 96 through 99 was made 14-2 1999. We lost to the Tennessee Titans 3 times, which is why I hate Tennessee so much. But since then, 2021 years, 3 playoff appearances, 3 winning seasons, 4 winning seasons. But I forgot about the 9-7 year. And it's not just they're bad. It's one thing to be bad. They're embarrassingly bad. They're, what are we doing with our lives is bad. They're, what is the organization doing? And this is through 2 owners. This isn't just a Shad Khan problem, although the Jags took a deep step back when Shad Khan became owner. This team has been bad for 2 decades. This is an awful organization. This is an organization that hired Urban Meyer, not because Urban Meyer deserved it. Although I can understand why you might want to try it, but it was a bad hire. It was never going to work. In my opinion, it's never going to work. I think I would think it might be one and done. I really do, because I don't think Urban Meyer can handle the NFL gig. I never liked the hire to begin with. I'm a Buckeye fan, for the record. Again, I'm an Ohio guy. I love the Ohio State Buckeyes. I hate Urban Meyer. Hate him pre-Buckeyes, hate him with the Buckeyes, hate him after the Buckeyes. I've made it known to people who know me. That's not something new. I'm not an Urban Meyer fan. I have a lot of personal issues with him in terms of how he handles things, how he runs his teams, his moral compass, or lack thereof. Is he a good college football coach? Yes, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a good NFL coach. Nick Saban was a terrible head coach in the NFL. I don't think anyone would confuse him to be a bad college coach. No, would be. Steve Spurrier was another example of that. I mean, the list goes on and on. Yeah, you have a Jimmy Johnson wins 2 titles with one of the best rosters ever assembled in Dallas. Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys, and Barry Switzer was not a good coach in the NFL. Great college head coach. Anyway, what am I saying? Back to the Jaguars. Back to the overall task at hand. I'm going to talk about patience. I don't like being the doom and gloom fan. 1 week we're done, we're the worst team ever. That's not something I like doing. I've dealt with that my whole life as someone who lives in Northern Ohio and have dealt with Cleveland Browns fans since 1999, where everything is doom and gloom. Every loss up until this past season. But it's really hard to get excited about anything. Even Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's shown flashes, but are we using them properly? And I know the answer is no. Again, we had 189 yards today. In today's NFL, that's bad 30 years ago. In today's NFL, the pass-happy NFL, where 300 yards is almost normal. It's normal. You don't get 300 yards, you have a bad day. 400 yards is commonplace. And I remember when it wasn't. The Jags had 189. Now, granted, it wasn't the worst performance of the weekend. That's a plus, I guess. You had the Saints who... I'm not sure what happened there. This is going to be a one-take shot. These are typically going to be one take, for the record. I'm not going to edit these, no matter what I do in the video. Or say, apparently. So... what happens next? I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. To be uncompetitive into the first 2 weeks. That's where I have my issues right now. Is that we're not a competitive team. Let alone, again, I didn't expect this to be a 10-win. I saw some predictions that are like, the Jags have potential to be great, be a playoff team, or to do this or do that. I mean, you guys are wrong. Cat's up here. Say hi, Cat. I couldn't believe that. It's like, I'd be happy with like 6-7 wins. And we're not getting there. Like, this is Jet, by the way. I'll finish with this. The Jags are probably gonna lose a lot. I want this team to get competitive. Number one. Yes, this week I guess would be better than last week because we were in lead till the late second quarter. But man, that offense. Just imagine if the offense played okay and we scored 17 in the first half. We didn't miss a field goal. We maybe got another touchdown somewhere. That game could be completely different. The Jags could have confidence in the second half. Of course the defense is going to start breaking when the offense literally can't do anything. Let's talk about the drives real quick. I took the damn thing off. Let's talk about... Let me look at the box score. Let's talk about the drives. Again, 83 yards in the first drive, and the Jags had 189 for the rest of the game. 106 yards total the rest of the game after that first drive. 106. That's terrible. And it looked like they were trying to force things to Chenault at times. Maybe he's not what we think he is. Maybe he's not. After the touchdown, the next Jag possession was a 3-and-out where they got negative 2 yards. That's good. On 3 plays. Next possession, they went 38 yards, positive. 6 plays, missed a 52-yard field goal. Now, I remember this drive, and I will give Trevor Lawrence some shit on third down for not trying to get just some yardage back. He tried kind of going for, didn't really do a great job at. This is where his rookie mistakes kind of came out. He needed to do something. 3rd and 16 is a lot, and he should have tried maybe getting 8-10 yards in that play. Instead, he just threw away. Or I don't know exactly what happened on third down, but it was just a really bad decision. Next drive, 7 yards, punt. Three plays now, 7 yards. And then probably the last good play, right before half, right after the touchdown, which was at a minute 54, was when the Broncos scored to take the lead. The Jags went 12 plays, 45 yards. That's not a great average. That's a lot of plays for not a lot of yards. But it was a minute 35. It was hurry-up offense. And then they missed another field goal, which is 48. Now, 52 and 48 aren't short field goals, but, Josh Lambo, up until last year he got hurt, was really pretty much automatic. Was automatic in Jacksonville. Again, he hadn't missed a field goal in Jacksonville his entire home career. He didn't miss on the road a few times, yeah, but at home he was automatic. And then the third item after that, 3-and-out, no yards, 4 plays, the interception, 3-and-out, 7 plays, another interception, and then they didn't have the ball again. As a matter of fact, this is how bad it got. The Jags threw the pick with 10:39 to go in the fourth quarter. The Jags never saw the ball again. They did have the kick return touchdown, but the Jags couldn't get a stop with 5.5 minutes left. Couldn't get a stop. And last week that was an issue. They couldn't get third down stops. The Houston just seemed like it didn't matter. I don't remember the exact stats, but it was stupid. And this week, a lot better on third down. So Denver was only 2-11. So again, positives. 2 for 2 on fourth down, which not great. So really, that's 4 for 11 on third or fourth down conversion. But they had 400 total yards of offense, 398 to be exact, 5.9 per play. That's a lot. 302 passing, 96 yard rushing, only 3.2 per attempt. Again, that's not bad. Both teams had penalty issues. Jags had 7 for 70, which was better, I think, than last week. Denver had 10 for 101. Obviously, the 2 turnovers are. And although I think time possession in today's day and age is a bit overrated, when it's 38-21, it's not overrated anymore. That's a problem. So the defense couldn't get off the field enough, especially in the second half. It's not even just because of third downs. It just they were getting a bunch of first downs. Denver had a lot of big drives. Denver had a 13-play drive, a 5-play drive. That's not great. They had, again, the first couple of drives were good for Jacksonville. 8-play drive and a half, and then 4 plays, but it was 75 yards and it was a touchdown. A 5-play, the 7-play, 3-play, 9-play, 9-play. The Denver was very methodical, is what I'm saying. They were very ball controlled. They knew they didn't need to score 40 points to win. They knew they didn't need to score 30 points to win. Hell, they didn't even need to score 20 to win. They needed to score 14 points to win because they gave up a kick return. If they didn't give up the kick return, they only needed 7 to win. Or 8, actually, to be exact. That's the problem. That is the problem with Jacksonville. It's been this way for years. It's been this way. Remember the Blaine Gabbert era, the Blake Bortles era, the Trevor Lawrence era, the Gardner Minshew era. There's a lot wrong with this team, is what I'm saying, and I'm going back and forth a bit. So this is where we're at. We're 0-2, 17-game losing streak, 6th longest in the NFL ever in history. we're an embarrassing franchise. We haven't been competitive in 2 weeks. Arguably the worst team in the league again. I think the only two teams you can maybe say are competing, and you can't say they're worse because they're not, the Jets and Atlanta at this point. I would say after that, you could find good with any other 0-2 team. I'm trying to think of 0-2 teams, and I'm drawing some. Minnesota's lost by combined total of 4 points, including overtime, which is heartbreaking, and they missed a field goal today to win. But they've looked good, or at least decent. The loser, Green Bay, Detroit's going to be 0-2, assuming no tie, obviously. Detroit is bad, but they're playing hard. They were competitive. They almost came back from 41-17 down with 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go, and they almost came back and tied the game up. Like, they had a legitimate shot. Now, that's not going to happen all the time, admittedly. But, I mean, Detroit's playing hard. Green Bay is probably going to destroy Detroit, and they're going to be fine. I don't know if they're going to be Super Bowl fine, but they'll be fine. Who else is 0-2 off the top of my head? Miami is not 0-2. The Jets, obviously, are 0-2. Atlanta's 0-2. We talked about them. The entire AFC North is 1-1. That's funny. The Colts are 0-2, but they've had a tough go. I mean, Seattle and the Rams back-to-back in week 1 and 2. It's a brutal start. But they've been competitive. You know, they're going to get some wins. They're going to be in the divisional race. And then, let's see, the Chargers lost, but I think that's it. You know, if you're making the power rankings, if I would make it the power rankings, the Jags would be 32. Atlanta would be 31. I don't know, maybe the Jets would be 30. They're both bad. Take your pick between the Jets and the Falcons for 31. I don't care. And then you know, I think there's a gap after that. I think Detroit would probably be 29 just because their roster's terrible, but they're playing hard. And after that, it's a gap. I mean, Houston's down there too, but Houston's playing hard. Again, Houston, same thing. They're playing hard. The Jags are not playing hard. Well, I mean, they're playing hard, but they're not playing well, and they're not competitive. That's the problem. They're not competitive. That's my problem. This is my entire problem right now, is they're not competitive. They were competitive for a half, but their offense did nothing after that. Literally almost nothing. 106 yards. 12 total first downs, and they had a third of those in the first drive. You tell me. Where it's hard to come up with the positives and not think of the negatives. But anyway, all right, I'm done ranting. It's my thoughts on the Jags right now. The bad team. Again, for the 35th straight year, it feels like. You know, for the last, it's par for the course for the last 10 years for sure, 15, 20 years probably. You know, it's a bad football team. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to say I'm a Jags fan right now. You know, people are like, oh, you're a Jags fan. Oh, yeah. I'm not enthused by it. I know what we are. How can you be enthused? Well, you had 2017. Yeah, too bad we just completely fucked that up. Only the Jags could go from that to 1-15 in 3 years and lose everything. Because Tom Coughlin was an old idiot who can't change with the times. Doug Marrone wasn't a bad coach, folks. Well, not a great coach. But he wasn't as bad as the record. Anyway, I'll be back next week, most likely. Hopefully not 0-3, but most likely. Maybe I'll rant more. Maybe I'll yell next week. Again, there's no point in yelling. Like, what's the point in yelling and screaming? Jags suck. Of course. It's just like every other year. And that is all for me. I am Christopher with the Lunchroom Syndicate. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully the Jags get better. Maybe one day. Maybe. Until next time, deuces.